Okay, instead of typing these, I'm just gonna read them to you and then send you the video because I don't feel like typing them, so you can type them. How did you get started? The first, it says into. I'm not sure what that is, so you can just ask me the first question later and we'll get it to you. Number 2, how did you get started in CrossFit? I got started in CrossFit after I graduated from Loyola University in 2011. I played 4 years of baseball there, and when I graduated from college, I just wanted to fill that competitive void, and I didn't know what to do, so I was just kind of doing bodybuilding, typical working out stuff. I grew up playing sports my whole life. So one day, Alex Romero was riding his bike down the road. He saw me. He asked me if I wanted to do a CrossFit workout. I said yes. The first workout we did was Fran. We did it at the Hornville High School weight room. And I got completely exhausted, and it was terrible, but I was hooked ever since then. So I started CrossFit in July 2011. At what point did you realize you wanted to compete or knew you would be good at it? I pretty much knew that I wanted to compete as soon as I started. Like I said, I grew up playing sports, so being competitive is just kind of in my blood. And the first couple of workouts we did, we compared times to other people who were doing them, and we were beating them. So I knew that I was pretty good at it then, and I just wanted to keep on pursuing it. And 5 years later, I'm still doing it, and feel like I'm still pretty good at it. So, question number 4, describe a typical day of training for you, and how does that differ from a normal day for an average CrossFitter? So what I do is definitely not like your average CrossFitter. 2 or 3 times a week, I'll do 2 a day. So in the AM, I'll do just some conditioning, aerobic work, where I'll do either bike, running, or rowing, just to kind of get some blood flow and heart rate up. And then a lot of my days, I'm going to be doing a lot of different stuff. I'm going to be doing some weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting, some strength, whether it be squatting or pressing or overhead work. I do a lot of gymnastics, whether it be muscle ups, toes to bar, handstand push-up work. And then I do a lot of Metcons. So Metcons, 5 rounds for time, AMRAP, stuff like that. So I have a lot of volume throughout the week. And that differs from your average CrossFitter because your average CrossFitter doesn't need to do all that just to stay fit. I'm doing it to compete. I'm not doing it just to be fit. So I think the average CrossFitter might do typically a strength piece and then just a Metcon piece to get their heart rate up. So I think I'm doing a lot more than an average CrossFitter needs to do or should be doing. Now, question number 5, how does your diet reflect your activity level, and how does that change on competition day? So basically how I do my diet, and I have a lot of clients that I do diets for, that I'm a nutrition coach for. So we base all of our calories around different types of macros. The 3 macros being protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Because that I'm highly active, I need a lot of carbohydrates as an energy source. So based on my activity level is based on how many carbohydrates I'll consume that day. If I'm doing a lot of work, then I'll consume higher carbohydrates. If I'm doing maybe a rest day, then I'll consume lower carbohydrates and less calories because I don't need them to fuel my body. For me, I usually consume upwards of 400 carbohydrates when I'm working out, which is about 6 days a week. I'll consume 430 grams of carbs, about 190 to 195 grams of protein, because that's about my body weight. So I go about a gram per pound of body weight, and then I backfill the rest of the calories from fat. I feel like this works the best because it's trackable. I weigh and measure all my food, so I know exactly how many calories I'm eating per day. So if I'm gaining weight, then I know I need to lessen the calories, and if I'm losing weight, then I know I need to add some calories. And I know that I can base my carbohydrates to fuel my performance and use that as an energy source. Number 6, why do you feel high intensity functional movements are the best way to increase your physical fitness? It's a tough question. Hold on, my battery's dying. I mean, functional movements, you're going to be using a lot of different muscle groups. So if you're just sitting there doing bicep curls, that's a single joint movement. So the only thing you're really going to be functioning is your bicep. Yeah, you might be using a little bit of forearms and grip just to hold on to the objects you're using to do bicep curls, or maybe leg extension or leg curls. But doing full functional fitness movements like squatting or thrusters or Olympic movements, you're going to be using a lot of different joints in your body, a lot of different muscles. So you're going to be getting your heart rate higher. And then honestly, it's just going to be working more than once. So you're getting kind of a better bang for your buck by doing these high intensity functional movements over your typical bodybuilding movements. Now, I do think that the bodybuilding movements do have a place as far as, building musculature in the body to protect the joints. So I think that typically, like going back to question 4, something I do in my training is I do add those types of things, stuff that will build muscle, because the more muscle you have, you kind of protect and put some protection around the different joints, your knees, elbows, shoulders, stuff like that. So, but overall, I think the main thing is having those high intensity functional movements, because that's what CrossFit's about. Question number 7, do you feel any pressure from being named 2016 Reebok CrossFit Fittest Human in Louisiana? I would lie if I didn't say I felt pressure. Every year, I think it's a little bit tougher to make regionals. Every year is a little bit tougher just to be as good and competitive in the field. I do work a full-time job as well. A lot of these athletes don't do that. So I would lie if I say I didn't have pressure, because I do. I do feel the pressure. And honestly, I don't like doing the competitions that much. I really have fun and enjoy the process of training to get to the competitions, and then I do the competitions, and then once they're over, I'm glad I did them, but during them, it's just stressful, and kind of get your stomach in knots. But I guess that's kind of what I do look forward to. The process of training to get to these competitions like regionals and hopefully one day to the CrossFit Games is something that I'm striving to do. And so there's some pressure for being fittest man in Louisiana, but it is an awesome accomplishment. I'm very proud of it, and I'm hoping to do it again in 2017. Number 8, how has your training changed to get you better for the 2017 Open Regionals? This year I hired a coach to program specifically for what I need as an athlete. I think a lot of times athletes might follow CrossFit.com or a blog style training where it's just for the masses and for everyone, but it's not really addressing the specific needs to each athlete. So by having a coach, I know that he knows what I need to work on. We went through a testing phase. He knows what I need to be better at, so he's constantly hammering those weaknesses to make my weaknesses, get up to where my strengths are without losing my strengths. So I think having a coach for this season is probably the number one asset that I added to my tool bag. I'm working just as hard as I ever have. Every athlete's going to work hard. The old phrases about work harder than, every athlete's going to be working hard. Every athlete who's going to regionals is going to be busting their butt. It's about who's doing what in smarter ways, training smart, staying injury free, and doing all the things right, the little things, recovery, ice baths, stretching, mobility, ROM wide, those types of things, just to keep you fresh and keep you being able to train at a high intensity. Number 9, tell us about the sacrifices a high-level CrossFit athlete has to put up with. So, there's definitely some sacrifices. I sacrificed time with my family. I just had a brand new son, just born, and I want to spend every minute with him, but I also want to pursue things in my life. So a balance between, doing CrossFit and spending time with my family, sacrificing some things. Some days I wish I could just come home and chill on the couch or go do something after work, but I have to train. I train for about 2.5 hours to 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. And then on Thursdays, I'll train for about an hour, hour and a half. And Sundays, I take a rest day. Sundays, I use to spend with my family, go to church. But there are sacrifices, definitely. I don't hunt as much as I used to, or fish as much as I used to, or do extracurricular activities, because CrossFit takes up a lot of time, and I can't sacrifice any more time from my family than I already do. So, being a high-level athlete does take up a lot of time and does take up a lot of sacrifices. Number 10, where do you see our sport in 5 to 10 years? More mainstream or fad? I definitely think that this is going to be more mainstream. It's been around since 2003, and it hasn't died off yet. Every year it gets stronger, every year it gets bigger. Honestly, I can see CrossFit being an Olympic sport. That's where I would see CrossFit in 5 to 10 years being an Olympic sport. Just be more mainstream than ever. Everyone knows about it. Everyone talks about it. Everyone's doing it, you know. I think it's just more fun. I think people see results, and when people see results, they want to keep doing it. That's all the questions. If you need me to elaborate on anything else, just let me know. Let me know what question 1 was. It just says into. It might be intro. If you need me to give me a better intro or background or about myself, let me know. And like I said, if you want me to elaborate on anything else, if it wasn't enough words for you, just contact me. All right, cool.